Matty Lincoln, Melbourne Sound, got signed to this label. Rest in peace, boys.
Oh, no.
You couldn't show me like an EDM song with an Indian vocal in it before No Quarter. Head of the label was just a fucking loose unit, blew out a bunch of times, allegedly.
I don't know. On everyone, we have an absolute banger locked in. I'm so keen for this. I'm so keen. Obviously, you can tell by the title. For those who don't know, you're fucking about to. I'll do a whole quick speech. 100K that I could see off the two accounts. 100K followers. He's got 2 million plays off just his top 3 songs alone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to prologue it anymore. I'm too keen. It is Zac Waters himself. I am
What's going on, guys?
So keen for this, brother. Welcome.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks very much for having me.
Nah, not a problem at all,
Anytime.
dude. Look, you've been and done it. You've seen basically everything the scene has to offer. I think for those who don't know you in chat, let's just start off with who you are, what you do, what you've done.
What I'm doing. My name's Zac, and I've been making music for a long time, since 2010. This artist who goes by the name of Needs No Sleep now, I believe, used to be known as Apocalypto. He cracked Ableton, put it on my computer in school. In like year 10, the end of year 10, and I remember just spending all summer trying to write tunes. And the first thing that I discovered on Ableton was they had like a crossfader function. So I just like put 2 songs in the crossfader, and I was like just flicking the crossfader over. And I remember being stoked because I thought that I was like literally a DJ overnight. And it was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. Didn't know what a VST was until 8 months in. So that was a good start. Just no fucking clue whatsoever. So didn't know that you couldn't just venture outside of Ableton's stock plugins to make sounds, which wasn't fun.
So you've always been Ableton.
Yeah, always been Ableton. I've looked down on those that use FL Studio famously. So yeah, don't come at me. No, I get it now. But back then, like, it was chalk and cheese. It was so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really just a us versus them thing. It's pretty fluid these days. And now you've got like Bitwig and all sorts of shit going on that you can just write whatever the hell you want on anything. Doesn't really matter. Absolutely. There's no difference anymore.
Yeah.
No difference anymore.
So you should like have the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just to follow on with your question, eventually started making music, started getting all right at it. Never really said that I was any good at it, but you know, everybody was kind of shit at it. It's just that some people weren't as shit as what like others were, I think. And that kind of was like the differentiator back then. Yeah. You look like, yeah, I really feel like nobody was really standing out unless you were like Will or like Joel or someone like that back in the scene. But yeah, the people who were like the best were really just capturing the vibe perfectly. It wasn't about like having everybody was trying to get the cleanest sound. That was it. It was like who can like race to the cleanest, loudest sound the fastest, because none of us have any fucking idea what we're doing. That was the race. And then like as soon as it got there, the scene was like, oh, this isn't even the sound anymore that we were making. Yeah. Like it's over. See you later. We're moving on to different sounds. It's so weird how that works. But yeah, enough tangents. I started making music, started DJing a lot, went through the full promoter scene, didn't sell one ticket to any events. Actually, the first event I ever promoted for, I just bought 7 of the tickets myself and told the guys that I sold 7 tickets, and they were stoked. And yeah, no one rocked up to the event, so I was just down like $180. It was awesome.
Yeah, classic.
But I got to play an event, so it was like my first event. I was like, sweet, I'm making $100 anyway. So yeah, that was good fun. Yeah, started just collaborating hard. That was probably a really big thing. Just opened my eyes to a lot of different techniques, different people from different walks. turned, like I was around like 17, 18, going through year 12, meeting people from all walks of life. Like it was actually the best time socially for me as well. Like I was a bit of a loser in school. And yeah, just kind of like fell into a groove, just like hit my social strides in year 12, and just, yeah, it was a great time. Like music just brings everyone together. It's the best. Got a lot of like a lot of stuff to, a lot of like mutual acknowledgement for like, oh, you're really good at that, and then somebody would say like, oh, thanks man, like you're fucking awesome at this, and then you just like hit it off, you start talking about random shit. It was really a sick time just to get around it in the music scene.
In the early days, it was all about making the friends before making the music. That really was a massive part that I think was lost when everyone was just trying to make music for clicks.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
The music.
Yeah.
So
and it had, it's like there was like a dynamic of like different cliques, like depending on your like style or your label or where you were at in the scene. It really felt like these like little cells of groups like moving up and moving around and doing like their own little style, and it was sick. It was really cool.
Now, you were in the come up against, like you said, like the Wills and the Joels that were doing the big stuff in the scene. You were, in your early days, you were up with, like, trying to break into that scene with those big dogs doing everything they were doing. Did you find it a little bit trickier that way? Just breaking.
It's a great question. Yeah, at the time it felt like that. Looking back, I think it was completely different scenes actually. So you had this first wave. It was like Callous orchestrated, big dogs like from back in the day. The guys that came out with the music first. I'm going to put like Slice and Dice, Heath Renata, those kind of guys, Stevie Mink, in that group of like OGs. Yeah. Then you had like the kids that were listening to that were just starting to turn 18. Samuel James, Will Sparks. That was like a year or two before my wave of like Who Killed Mickey, Amir, and like this whole other, there was like this whole generation just a couple of years back that almost transcended Melbourne, you know, in a way. Like our sights were set in a different trajectory, and I think that we like unfairly pigeonholed ourselves into the category of like having to compete with like Will or Joel or like get that sound. We should have just been like the whole scene, like all of EDM right now and like dance music in general is just a free for all. Let's just make whatever the hell we want. We just found ourselves making like a Melbourne style of music, which was like a good way of us socially getting together and doing it. But unfair to think that like we needed to compete with like Orchestrated and guys like that who were just like gods. They like untouchables. Like you're never gonna eclipse Will on his trajectory. So like why put yourself in the same boat? You just gotta do your own thing. Looking back, but like hindsight's 2020, you can't make that call.
What direction did you like head in after like that Melbourne sound died? Like obviously you went the like the Mel trance type route. How did that affect you as a DJ?
The Mel trance stuff was like initially a bit of fun, but I definitely like when I was young, I just listened to a lot of trance and had like a bunch of like wild dance tracks and like CDs when I was young, and like had heard all the trance tracks and I loved it. And that scene was like also getting way more popular as well. So I just found my groove making that sort of stuff anyway. Wasn't really good at it, but like I kind of was like, this is my opportunity to be like a little bigger than like just the small little pond that like Melbourne kind of was. And just almost pivoted a little bit into that. And yeah, took it as far as I could before realizing like the whole thing's kind of going like that. Yeah, it like Melbourne just went, and Australia, I guess in general, just went through this weird like relapse of like the scene, like just dance scene, club scene, kind of just evaporated. And I saw it evaporating, and it's kind of why I got out initially. I was like, all right, let's just call it before it gets too like, before I'm too stressed about this or too worried about what I'm going to do. I can just get out and reset and figure out what I'm going to do from here. But yeah, good question.
It was
a question that kind of links to the Mel trance sort of thing. That's not the only genre that you've mixed, is it? Like Melbourne and trance.
No. No, there are a few different ones. I don't know which you might be alluding to, but
No, I'm just asking, what is the most interesting genre you have ever merged? Like the two interesting genres to create the one.
I can't remember. You couldn't show me like an EDM song with an Indian vocal in it before No Quarter. I'm happy to claim that. I'm happy to claim that. I mean, I'm sure that there is one. But like, yeah, if I've got tickets on my
that's why I brought it up, man. I wanted to mention like No Quarter and Zenith. Like they were two big hits.
Yeah, Zenith got its legs from Will, that's for sure. He played it at Future one year, and there was a video of it that went like viral at the time. Facebook, this is another thing that people don't realize as well. Well, I'm sure you guys realize it because you kind of lived through it, but like you didn't have to pay for fucking ads on Facebook. It was just all organic. Like if you interacted with something, it would show up in other people's feeds. Yeah. So like something went viral back then, it was because like it would naturally organically was like getting shared a shit ton. And when Zenit like did the runs, it was like that's when there was no like you didn't pay for ads, it just fucking went viral because it was good, and it was like that was it. Now there's a very different game to it, which is why I'm kind of like stagnant and out of the loop with coming back, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with any of that stuff. It's just it's confusing, but I'll figure it out.
Well,
it is very, very difficult.
You also had one of your tunes that was played on Triple J back early days. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Drezzo. He dropped one of your songs. Yeah, Freak. He played Freak. Yeah, that was a mid-tempo track. Just did for fun, that eventually got signed. I think the A&R at the label who was there just loved my stuff and was like, yeah, we'll take anything. So he kind of just signed it, and it actually did really well. That one and another one that went on, the label was Monster Cat Canada. They released it, and it was... it did well. Rez played it, Charmy played it, Drezzo played it. Wow. A couple of big dogs. It was cool.
I got another real quick question. What happened to Wayfarer or Wayfarer or whatever?
Wayfarer, like the lore. You want the Wayfarer lore? Basically, there was
go for it.
There was a label, and like it's funny because I kind of have this at work now, but like there was a label that was like taking the shittest songs. And like anybody that like couldn't get signed to a label, basically, or like wanted to sign their first track, they just went straight to Wayfarer because it was like an instant sign. This guy James, he was the label head of it. Now, I don't allegedly, there's a lot of stuff that went on with like the money that happened through Wayfarer. Matty Lincoln, Melbourne Sound got signed to this label, so this is where like the majority of the notoriety of that label came from, but. Basically, myself, a lot of other producers around like the same vein, just like hungry to get some sort of accolade, some sort of like recognition, all got signed to this label. They did a bunch of parties. The head of the label was just a fucking loose unit. Got UC all the time at Cloud, like blew out a bunch of times, allegedly. And yeah, just blew all the cash. That was the story. And like the label just stopped working with anyone. Nobody got paid. Like it was a shit show. No one knows what happened in the back end. None of the tracks made any money. Like it was just shocking, but it was really fun. Like these are the guys like that I still talk to and will joke about Wayfarer Records with today, like 13 or 14 years on. It's amazing.
So it was 2019 when you finally like threw in the towel. Like you said, you could just see it disintegrating before your eyes and everyone was done with it. So 2019, you finally decided to, that's it, I'm done with the Melbourne sound. But you teased in that, I want to read, there's a quote that you said in your I'm done. I'm gonna put it down for now. You said, I want it to mean something in regards to music. I want it to mean something, to stand out, to be exceptional. I felt forced to push out half-assed music, and the lack of inspiration was discouraging. What do you think was your main, your inspiration at the time that just started dying out? What made you say that, I guess? What made you think that, like, the inspiration's not there anymore, even with everything you were doing?
I've always been pretty fluid with my writing style and just writing whatever comes naturally. And I think seeing the scene go a certain way kind of discouraged me from writing in a particular style as well. And I felt like I had to be something that I wasn't in order to keep going. So that's when I kind of just, I just shut up shop. It was nothing to do with the agency or management or label or anything like that. It was more so like, I see this going a different way, and I don't really feel like I want to be a part of writing anything that facilitates that. It's just not really me, not my style, not good at it. And yeah, I think that's where I kind of left it and just focus on what I was good at.
And then you teased a little newer project that at the time you hadn't said anything about. It was still just completely under wraps. It took a couple of years for you to finally announce it, but AAC, Adult Art Club, what was the whole idea there, going into the house sort of vibes?
So Matt Kopp and I, if you don't know Matt Kopp or Running Touch, he had a project called Victor back in the day. He was writing some absolute fucking bangers under Victor, some cult classics in 2012. And we used to go to Pancake Parlor all the time, like best buds, 3 a.m. We'd just like go debrief about our fucking lives and how stressful it was being an 18-year-old white guy from Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, and basically just like came up with all these shit ideas, and some of them were pretty good. And one of them was to do Adult Art Club, which is like basically a fusion between art and music, and just go like, all right, what if we just did every single piece of music had like a physical artwork, and there was some way of like displaying that as an exhibition, essentially, of like, let's just blend the two worlds and have like the artists with the music as well, and they can just freestyle off of it. And we eventually fell into the project, and like we realized that as like 18-year-olds, we probably didn't have the world experience to be able to pull something like that off with any authenticity. So we just waited. And then when we were both like 24, 25, around the time of, 2019, we're like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Let's actually write some stuff and see what comes out. And it was like pretty dark, grungy, housey, techno sort of stuff. Pretty slow at the time, but yeah, just felt our way through it and ended up writing some good tunes with some sick artists as well. Like I have art in my house right now from some of those things that is like, everybody who comes here is like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, where did you get this? And I'm like, let me tell you a story.
That's sick. No, I actually watched one of the video clips earlier today or yesterday or whatever. One of the girls just painting, just going hard. And that idea is... that gave me inspiration, bro. I love that idea. Just having that,
awesome.
Like,
I'm glad
of the two is really cool. The only person I've ever seen do it is Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD, after he died, he had a painter do a couple of paintings for him, and I'd never seen that in the dance music scene. So when I stumbled across Art Club, I was like, this is sick. Like, this is a dope idea.
Yeah. I think we're blessed in Melbourne, but also cursed, where like we have all these creative people, and like it's just this summit of like forward thinking ideas, and like it always picks up steam. If there's a scene somewhere, it's going to be huge eventually. Like look at like Hard Groove right now, and it's like just fucking smashing it. And that's just all Melbourne guys, really. And then there's like not enough people in Australia to like actually facilitate a scene like that to any sort of commercial viability. Like even if it's some underground niche scene, like you have to be right at the top to actually benefit from that, and everybody else kind of gets shafted. So it's a blessing and a curse. Like, we have the ability to do really cool shit here, but also like there's not enough people to support it long term.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I think a massive one too is that there's only so many things someone can like. So if you're in too much of a niche, you're just going to get forgotten about because they're all going to find something cooler or more interesting to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
You said also in the comments of that, when you were retiring, you said that Electric a couple of years before that was probably your most, like, your favorite set personally. Do you have like a top 3? Obviously you've supported all the Sparks and done all the big concerts in town, but is there some that like really stick out?
I remember a couple of underages being fucking mental. For some reason, they just get the best reactions. I think it's just like unimpressionable kids. They don't really care. They can let go, and like they don't give a fuck. Think about them. They're not like, no one's really like getting cooked or anything, and it's just like a pure environment. Everyone's enjoying themselves. Probably wouldn't enjoy being there now, being like 31. It's just not the vibe. And yeah, but being 18 and playing it like an underage, sick vibe. It's like you're basically the same age and just gone smashing it. Everybody reacts like everyone's hands up jumping. Like that's what you want as an 18-year-old DJ. They stick in my mind. EC Electric Circus in Adelaide was cooked. They just had function 1 with like an 80-person room, and it just like heaved. They cram like 120 people in there and go nuts. So that was really sick. And then like nothing beat like peak Cloud, peak Forest, peak Melbourne on like a Thursday, and it was like busy, or like even playing to no one in like a cherry red side room, but it was like just you and your mates, and you could play like your own songs and like fucking just get around it, test it in the club. Like some of the best times just playing to 0 people and just testing all your shit on a system.
Absolutely.
Because like you had no other way of like checking if it's good or not.
Yeah, I do remember those days. But
I'll be
still
honest,
sounds like shit.
Even like all the massive gigs you did, that's still like, it's almost shadowed by the people that you've worked with production wise too. You've worked with people like Darude, Wad and Akbar. Like there's been some massive names that just in your catalogue. Let's start with the Darude one. How in the fuck did you even manage that?
Bro, I have no idea. My agency or management, they were like, dude, Darude's coming to Sydney. Do you want to like jump in the studio? He's looking for someone to write with. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, get on the plane. You're going to Sydney right now. So I literally, like I got an hour to like grab my shit, got on the plane the next day to Sydney, and then spent the whole day with him, wrote a tune with him. And yeah, I remember sitting there and like I tried to do the dirtiest shit. I was like sampling like Rammstein tracks and he was like having none of it. He was so petrified of using like a sample or trying to clear something. And I just distinctly remember like, what are you so worried about? Like I get away with this shit all the time. He's like, dude, I can't get away with this. There's no way. They just and I was like, oh yeah, I guess so. Makes sense. But yeah, we had some sick we wrote some sick demos and eventually ended up coming out, but that was a very surreal experience. He's such a sick guy, very reserved, like Finnish guy, very humble, just your typical Scandinavian, like doesn't really let up much, but has got the sickest life. And yeah, all power to him. It's fucking awesome to see.
Yeah,
he's like a national hero.
Yeah, Sandstorm's probably one of the most iconic dance songs ever.
Yeah, probably the biggest dance song ever written.
Yeah,
ever written. I would say it probably is.
Yeah, definitely. So like once you hit something, you knew you hit something with Adult Art Club because almost instantly people started taking a liking to it once you announced it fully. Then you did the Avalon Airport, played in an airport. Like, you've done some crazy things with that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That video was nuts. The production behind that was sick. Do you feel like you've got more to give? Is there more to the story that you think you could write still?
Without a doubt, especially for my own stuff. I feel like Adult Art Club, the beauty of Adult Art Club is this branding. Like, it doesn't matter what the music actually is, but the concept is so core to the idea that you can kind of pivot around the sound or the visuals however you like. But that concept is so solid that it just carries the narrative. With Zac Waters, there was never any narrative. It was just like a white kid from Melbourne with good tunes. Like, that's kind of how it goes. Who's like a piece of shit on the internet and like gives people shit. And that was like that was kind of like the vibe. And it worked for the time, but like that would just never work again. So reframing the project into something a bit more brand forward, I think makes a bit of sense. Not to get too cerebral about it. Like, Matt always calls me out and just be like, stop thinking about it and just do it. Which is very good advice. If there's anyone watching this who's like, fuck, like I've got analysis paralysis, like I don't know what to do, just do shit until something works. Like, you're not going to look back and be like, fuck, I wish I didn't do any of this stuff. You're going to be like, thank God I did, because now I understand what I actually need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think there's just like, I mean, I saw you as 18-year-old kid in Forest and then Cloud as well. And then it just, from what I saw, because I came into the scene sort of late, from what I saw was just like, it's almost like that was the peak for someone like me who was just getting into the music industry. What you were doing back then was sort of like what everyone wanted to do with music. And to hear that, you know, you've still got more to write, I mean, that should be inspiration enough to anyone who's been doing music for 10 years and thinks that they're done now. Like, if you've still got more to give, I think that gives everyone else more confidence too. Yeah,
I think like on an intrinsic, internalized, almost like a what is my purpose here sort of thing. Like zooming all the way out, like what else do you have if you're not just writing music? Like doing something that we've been doing for thousands and thousands of years as human beings. Yep. Like, it's a pretty awesome thing to be able to do. So fucking do it. Like, it's sick.
Absolutely.
Just keep going.
And with the accolades that you can achieve if you just stick to it, like, you know, we've had talks with Amir last week and then you this week. It just proves that like there's not only levels to it, but there is a top and it's possible. Like you're saying, you were just an 18-year-old kid from Melbourne. Yeah, with all the problems in the world, but no, absolutely.
Well, absolutely. Let's take it back to the roots, man. How did you actually become a DJ? Like, was it the house parties? Was it the online mixes? Did you become a producer before you were like a DJ?
Yeah, so I bought decks when I was like, when I was 16. My mum basically was like, if this is something you want to do, come up with a business plan and I'll fund it, and then buy like some speakers and a table and decks, and then you can pay me back. So that's exactly what I did. And I was like, all right, I'm going to play like 5 house parties at this rate, and I'm going to pay you back over those 5 house parties. Started getting booked. It was crazy fun just playing like progressive house. Like, I don't know, like Levels was like Ministry of Sound, Calvin Harris, like Levels. At that time, that sound was just like massive. And then that's when I started hanging out with like Caleb, Amir, and like Matt Retch, who was like another Wayfarer guy, and like all these other guys from around. Even like Kieran was kind of like in the same sphere as well, like a bit adjacent, but not like super close, I guess. But it was like that like core group of Melbourne guys who were like kind of finding their way. But it was roots of like just doing house parties and figuring out what it was like to DJ. Actually, like I remember one day I was on the school bus, and it was a long way home. It was like 50 minutes on the bus on the way back to my place, and this guy on the bus who was like a year older than me, he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't DJ. Like, that's the lamest shit I've ever seen. He's like, and I was like, well, what else am I gonna do? He's like, you should produce. Like, all the best guys are producers. And I was like, fuck yeah, I should probably do that. I was like, just impressionable. Like, oh yeah, like, what do I do? He's like, man, get Fruity Loops or some shit. I don't know. And I was like, all right, I'll go and like research what a Fruity Loops is. So I went and like looked up, found out about doors and like how to do all that shit. And then that's how I got Ableton, was through that interaction. And then like I probably have him to thank for most of my career, to be honest. If it wasn't for that, I might not have done it. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Nice.
How old were you when you jumped into the scene? And can you give us some of your best promoter stories?
Well, that promoter story of like selling the 7 tickets is probably my best one. I wasn't a promoter for very long. That's
a good thing.
Yeah. Also, somebody like I used to check in with like the head promoters. Like it was Wes Pettit from White Pony. He was the guy doing like Cherry Red and Soda Pop and Green Apple and all that sort of stuff. And he was like, oh, Zach, you did 10 people this week. Nice one. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even promote my list. Turns out it was just like some people that said Zach at the door. And then like another guy's list, it went to me instead of his. And I was like, he's the one who should have got the stuff for it. I was like, all right, whatever. That's pretty much as far as my like promoter journey went, other than buying my own tickets that I was selling and telling promoters that I'd sold tickets, which I hadn't. I DJ'd at Frybays in Mornington with basically with a stat deck signed by the cops saying that I wouldn't drink. So I was very compliant with the law at that at that age. Didn't do any naughty shit. I think I did play in an underage actually. With that Amir booked me for, and Will Sparks was playing. It was in the CBD. It was pretty sick. Actually, it was shit at the time I DJ because it was like 1 p.m. 1 a.m. No, 1 p.m. So it was like in the middle of the afternoon. It was still fun. Good experience. Got to play on like CDJ 350s or something. Yeah. You know what the worst thing ever to play on was, and I'm sure you guys can probably attest to this as well, like 2000 mixer.
Yeah, with the screen.
Spaceship. Yeah. DJM 2000.
Nah, yuck.
Fuck off. Yeah. And you can only choose like one channel for effects and stuff, and it was like actually the worst thing ever.
Yeah, there was no master.
I hated that. I hated that thing. Yeah.
Can definitely contest to that for sure.
Yeah.
Chris A is in the chat. He's a DJ himself. He's been doing it for a while now, killing the game. He said, your advice kept me making music in the most darkest of times in my younger adolescence life. So that's how is it being like you've just as that 18-year-old kid, you were just doing what you loved and just having fun, and now you're you become an influence and become such a figure to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess you don't really think of that when you're in the moment, like making the song, that like you might potentially have a really positive impact on somebody's life. And it's such a fortunate byproduct of making music, is that like it does make people feel good or even feel bad, but it helps in some way. It's like a soothing effect. Even if I've never written in a major scale in my entire life, and I just famously cannot write major. So for anybody that's heard any of my songs, you're probably not feeling like super happy or upbeat, but for those certain people that do like that like melancholic minor scale sound, I'm sure it has helped, which is awesome. And yeah, it's just more proof as to why we should just make as much and release as much as possible, because people need to hear it. You don't know who's going to be on the other end listening. You could save someone's life inadvertently in some way as well.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. I think that was one of the major points of us starting the crew and then coming up with the idea of the podcast, was we just wanted somewhere for all of us to like embrace each other. And if you go back through the 2 group chats that we have, everyone is just there and supporting each other, bringing each other up, telling everyone how important everyone is. I think that's what the scene lost the most, and that's like bringing that back is It's always been a really like integral part of what we're doing. And getting to now at the podcast, we're only 3 technically, but we're only 4 episodes in, and we're already getting enough, like, we're getting the recognition for the right reasons, not just because we're good DJs and whatever else, but because we're building that community vibe that we need so bad. I feel like we really do.
Absolutely.
We all went out for the music back in the day, and that's what made it.
Yeah, literally, we're all obsessed, right? Yeah. And the obsessiveness is infectious as hell. I think that's the catalyst. It's like everybody who's obsessed about it is all going to the same place to do this shit. Yeah. And they're all like talking the same channels. Yeah. It's like we need to foster obsessiveness over this sound, over this like style again, and that's, I feel, where like a majority of the momentum comes from.
Absolutely. We'll do another one from the chat because it's right there. But Vanessa is saying, who was your inspiration in the early days?
I haven't really thought too much about it because I have a theory about inspiration, or at least creative people in general. I feel like we're not inherently that creative. We're like collectors. We're kind of collecting these memories and like compartmentalizing them and then putting them into some form of art. Like a lot of my stuff back in the day probably sounded like something else because I was inspired by that. Yeah. And then you skip forward 2 years and then my sound starts to sound completely different because it's inspired by this other memory that I was attached to at the time. And you kind of like figuring it out as you're doing it. It's not really that you have like this one influence or this one thing growing up and then that's all you care about or all that influences you to start with. Maybe some people do feel like that and they have like the Arnold poster on their wall and the only reason they get jacked like Ziz is because they have Arnie on the poster. Like that makes sense. But also like how could you not get influenced by just the people around you, like coming up in the scene? Yeah, maybe Will is like the best, like holy shit, like Will, somebody from our hometown is like crushing it. Like that's such a huge inspiration. And then like through Will, you might find like Timmy. And then from Timmy, you might go on to like Martin Vorwerk, who wrote like every big room track you've ever heard. And then from Martin Vorwerk, you go on to like, all right, who else is like Swedish? And then you find like some other random Swedish guy who's like, all right, here's Cyrus D. Like, and then your sound starts sounding like more techno because you started with Will and it's like 6 months down the road. Like it's so fluid that it just doesn't really work in the way that I think a lot of people say like, yeah, I'll just give you one off the bat that's like Will. But it's like it's Will, but it's also like a whole bunch of other guys as a result of that. That is like the culmination of it. For a long-winded answer for a very short question. Sorry about that.
No.
That's perfectly fine. That's the perfect answer. That's exactly what we're looking for.
I think it's also a little bit of testament to your creative side. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, people that I've met in my past have definitely gone into it with like, orchestrated's making this sound, I'm gonna try and do that too, and I'm gonna try and do that too. But you, like, just hearing your music, like from the crowd, you can tell that influence isn't just like replicating, you know what I mean, and taking that feel and making it your own. I feel like you've done one of the best out of the scene is, you know, making that like. You can hear a Zac Waters track and know that's Zac. You can hear like a Will song and know that's a Will Sparks song. Like, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people get lost in trying to be too much like Will or trying to be like orchestrated. They lose their own creative spark. And I don't know, the way you're explaining it, it's like, I don't think you will ever be stuck in that box. And that's something that other people, I feel like, get lost in.
It's a great point, and it's a really nice compliment as well. And there is a solution for like being in that trap, I think. And the only filter that we all individually have is like taste, and like you will have your own taste. Everybody here in this call right now, and everybody who's listening and typing, has their own style and their own taste that's influenced by like a really long string and a really deep entrenched web of influences that nobody else shares with them. So when it comes down to like all like, I think every decision that you make to do with like music production is binary. So like you either yes or no making a decision in that moment to do something. So you've got this really big web and this really long flow chart of yes and no decisions. Like, yes, do I use this kick? No. Do I use this kick? No. Blah, blah, blah. Like you're going through 100 kicks until you find one that aligns perfectly with your taste. Then you go into the next part of the flow chart, which is like, all right, now what EQ am I going to use? Well, I'm not going to use Ableton stock EQ. I'm going to use FabFilter because it has like compression and all of these like different things then add up. You're still making a song in the same way that orchestrators make a song, but you're making all these like little binary yes and no questions that go along with that to eventually end up with your own product. That's the way you can tell that a Zac Waters song is a Zac Waters song on the dance floor, is because I've just doubled down on the taste factor and like, all right, I'm going to like, yeah, maybe I'm going to steal this kick drum, but it's going to be my synth over the top of it, not his. And that's what's going to make it sound like it's kind of like this guy, but it's going to be mine because I've got the only, you know, spire patch in Southeast Melbourne that's going to do the job. Like that's all it kind of comes down to.
Yeah.
I think you use spire.
Yeah.
Classic plugin.
Oh, that's these two. These two are the producers. See, I was, like you were saying before, with the FL hate. I started on FL for the last like 11 years. And then recently, now that the resurge of Melbourne's coming back and everyone's starting to make tunes again, you're back, Lockie's back, Amir's back. There's a bunch of people that I'm like, the only thing holding me back, obviously not the only thing, but the only thing holding me back from potentially getting a collab with these boys is the fact that I work on FL. I'm going to have to stem everything out, send it to them in stems, then they're going to have to stem it out, send it back to me. Such a pain. So I'm starting from scratch. I've just gotten just gotten Ableton, and now I'm starting from ground zero.
Once you understand like the core logic that it uses, not to use the word logic as the door, but like once you understand Ableton's logic, it's very German. Understand it's very German. They think very linearly. Then it kind of opens up all of the mind maps. Yeah. It's like, oh, if I just drag this onto the channel and everything is on that channel, then all the effects are only going to apply that channel and nothing else. FL's not like that. FL's like, all right, now we're going to route it to a mixer. And now like if I drop it fucking anywhere in the track, it's going to play like how it's routed, not where it is on the actual channel. So it's like a different autistic way of like, FL just doesn't make sense to me. I like the German, like rigid. No, you must do this. Yep. Like you can't do it the way you want to do it. You have to do it our way because we do it the best.
Yeah.
That's how
and it is. Once you get Ableton, you realize how powerful it is.
Yeah, for real.
Even like it, as bad as stock plugins are, they are pretty good.
Yeah, Ableton, especially recently, like Drift is one of the best like stock plugins I've ever used. If you ever want to sound analog without buying like $4,000 Mini Moog or something, just use Drift. It sounds amazing. Really good for dub sounds as well. Yeah. Go for your life. Wavetable, Drift. Yeah, it's very good.
There's been so much chatter in all of the, like, you know, Danny rants and all of that stuff that's been popping off now, and Melbourne getting its almost second wind with the scene. I feel like that experimental age sort of it's run its route. It's done everything it needs to, and everyone sort of plateaued. Everyone just got happy with the sound. And now I feel like with this new resurgence, it's giving people that like, well, if Melbourne sound is good and we already like hard groove, let's just do that and see what happens. Yeah. And I think it's going to build more people creatively, build more people up.
Yeah, it feels like another fork in the timeline. Like I remember, like you can kind of track when the Melbourne sound died. At least I feel like it can. I had this conversation with a guy called James the other day. We're like, where do you think the Melbourne sound died? And we both said the same answer. And it was like, Will Sparks did a remix of of a Maroon 5 song, and it was fucking amazing. And we were all like, this can't get any cleaner, any more like big, any more like main room. Like the difference between these two sounds is so big now that it just seems a bit like lost. Like we can't go back to what it was. So it feels like we're forking now. Like we've gone back to like the early orchestrated sound, and I wonder where it forks from that instead of just like kind of fermenting a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I wish it did. Like I wish the tech didn't evolve so fast at that time that we could have just stayed with that sound for another, even if it was another like 12 months, 24 months, where like the sound didn't really progress the way that it did. I feel like it would have benefited the sound more in the long run, and it wouldn't have just gone to kick bass.
My death of the scene was the last 5 weeks of Hidden Forest, as that was starting to die out. Once Forest closed and Rich Morgan tried to reopen 229 with Utopia, it pulled 100 people on its best night, and it just felt like everything we had done and everything we've been doing it's done. Like that was my like, I think it's done here, boys. So
yeah, it must have been a really different lens as like a promoter, somebody like on the ground getting numbers in, seeing like the profit and loss statements and like understanding the actual economics of it. Must have been a very, very different ball game to like being in producer land and just like spitballing on what's actually happening.
Yeah, well, that was my introduction into the scene, because it was with the reopening that I played my first set. It was all that stuff that I did right after Forest closed. And the build from there has been so different. Like, I said this to someone the other day, and it's not like to toot my own horn or anything, because I know people have done stuff in the scene as well, just as hard. But I felt like when I started, right as the scene died, that was the hardest time to be a DJ in Melbourne, because I was one of the only ones still playing minimal. And everyone went and changed genres and passed it off, and it was just like, it was so hard for me to get accepted.
Because I was still producing minimal. Like I was still going off.
No one was hiring. No one was booking it.
Playing was different.
What's tough about it, and no one talks about this, it was like fully frowned upon to do any Melbourne stuff, especially from the other scenes that were starting to blow up as well. Like if you went to any Untitled thing, like a Beyond the Valley or something like that, and you even mentioned Melbourne sound, it was like, the fuck are you talking about? Like you're actually the loser. Like it was fully like disencouraged or like discouraged to be in Melbourne.
I think it was last year I played it at, I won't say the place, but I played it at a joint on Chapel Street for one of my homies who had a night, and he was like, strictly no minimal, strictly no Melbourne sound. I was like, we're on Chapel Street, brother. What are you talking about? Like, what?
This is where this sound fucking grew up.
Yeah. So it was a very, it's been a very, that I said that to someone the other day. Like, I don't know, when I started, I understand, like, you know, Will started when he was 17. Would have been hard to get into a club, and, you know, orchestrated starting fucking before computers. It would have been hard to make a song. Like, I think trying to be a DJ in like 2020, or especially when I was starting to be a DJ, like
COVID.
Like 2019. DJ. It was so difficult to even get my foot in the door. Now it's come full circle, and everyone's like, "Hey, Aaron, you still playing minimal?" It's like, fucking, where were you 5 years ago?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now it's all starting at Pilot's Lounge. I keep talking about them every fucking stream, but what they're doing, what Loosey Goose are doing, like it. That's what we need. We need like people who are doing it for the right reason.
Obsession. Need obsession back.
Absolutely.
As soon as we start getting obsessed again, it's so infectious. Yeah, it really is.
I feel like it'll be on then once it gets to a point where everyone can understand that they want it. Like, we're not trying to feed you this, but if they hear it enough, they'll start to like it type vibe. And I think that's what's working at the moment.
I think it's close as well. Like, you think about it this way, like, we've been pushing, you know, these minimal events since like, 4 years ago now? Yeah. Like, we've been pushing minimal events for like 4 years. Pilot's Lounge have been running for 3 years. Loosey Goose has just come back.
Yeah.
You know, on top of that, we've got like Danny doing all of the stuff that he's doing with the Melbourne sound. He sold out the bowl, for example. Like people are still on that high, right? And they're wanting more. You know, people are finally starting to realize, and the generations after, you know, all of those people came, like the generations after, that wasn't their scene.
Yeah, they
like,
never got to experience it.
They never got to
just heard about it.
Yeah.
They heard about it. They went to the bowl and they got to experience what we used to experience growing up in the scene. You know, they got to finally experience it.
Do you know how much they didn't sweat in a tiny room though? Like they were all it is the same.
They felt the love though. They felt the love.
Yeah, definitely.
They felt the love, which is what we, you know, they felt that drive, which is what was driven us this whole time. So what's to say that they won't research into the new sound?
Yeah. This is the same tactic I would have if I were to try and revive like the 2000s trance scene, and like think, you know, like any white party, you've got 10,000 people in a huge club or something like that, and it's just like Tiesto playing in a fucking spaceship or something like that, or like you can't even see the DJ. That was like raves back in the day. Like DJs weren't even on the stage; they were just in some room, and they were just playing
recently.
tunes.
Yeah, someone was talking about that recently. How it
crazy.
got to a point where the DJs were the superstars, and what it should be about, well, what nightclubs are about is just the music, not the person.
Yeah, just the music.
They used to have the DJs either like down on the floor with everyone else or just off in the corner somewhere. It was never big stages. It was never video visuals. None of that.
Yeah, completely different. But like if you were gonna revive any scene and market it to like a crowd, you would start with like, all right, let's hit the 10% of people who like love this sound, and then like get all the people who missed out.
Yeah.
Like and I'm pretty sure that's what the whole orchestrated motif now and selling the bowl is probably aimed at. It's like, all right, well, you guys, let's bring you all back and let's actually pivot this into like capturing as many people who missed out as possible, because they're the ones who are going to like push the scene forward. And I really hope they do. I really hope this like a new generation of like kids essentially are going to go, fuck, this Melbourne stuff was sick, let's get around it. I mean, they're signed to fucking Proxy now, orchestrated, which is like they could be playing Pitch, which is ridiculous to think about. Like imagine them playing Pitch 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another one. Like the Orc Boys, I asked, because everyone's been speculating. I've seen hate that they're copying on Instagram because they retired 2 years ago and they shouldn't be doing all this and blah, 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 blah. So I asked, straight from the horse's mouth, I said, Dean, brother, I'm copping a lot of questions, so I need the answer. Is this a comeback, or are you guys just having fun, like a farewell tour? He said, it's definitely a comeback.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Hey, if you're going to sell out the bowl, like you're not gonna retire.
Yeah.
If you're selling out the bowl, you're not ready to retire.
And
easy as that.
Like 2 years ago, if you had asked him, Dean wouldn't have come out. I spoke to Dean back then too, and I was like, "What's it going to take to get you on my brand?" And he was like, "Good luck, brother. I like maths and sitting at home." It was like, "All right, sick."
Yeah. Don't blame him.
I mean, getting the offer to sell out the bowl, it's clearly like re-sparked something in him that now he just wants to push it.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
all power to him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
You see on his Instagram as well, like he's speechless. He doesn't know how to respond. He's just like, he's still in awe. He's just like, thank you very much.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy as well. He's just like, he's super chill about it all, and like full credit. Like I don't think he doesn't understand the impact on people that his music and cause the broader community, and maybe this is just a way of repaying that faith that everybody had in him, and fully realizing that too, which is just a great thing to see too. And full credit to Danny for like promoting it and basically reviving the interest and doing the show as well. Like takes a lot of balls to put that amount of risk out there. to do it. So
yeah, well, he said his house was on the line for Orchestrated, and clearly it paid off. Clearly it's going good for him. But to even be at the state he was at, you know, even with Wet Pussy and everything he's doing with the alcohol and blah 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 blah, to still have to put his house on the line for something like that, like it was still a risk even for the big dogs. And it's paid off.
It seems like it.
Are you hoping for, I mean, everyone would hope for it, but are you hoping that with your return, you'll be straight back up there with the dogs?
I'm not expecting anything. I think that's probably the first expectation to set myself, is that as soon as I start expecting stuff, it's game over. Like I should never put myself in that situation. Like I've got a 9 to 5 and I work after that as well. And it just like, there's no pressure for me really to come back to do that. So why set it?
Yeah.
I would love to do my own ticketed event at some stage. That's probably my like end game. If I can just do like a 200 person ticketed event, sell it out, I'll be happy. And then I can finish up, feel like I'd done it. So that's my long-term goal anyway.
The running events I started in 2019, and my first big one was like early 2020, and running events has been 10 times harder than DJing. I would rather DJ and produce any day of the week, but I said it last weekend, we threw like a little VIP party just for our crew, and I said at that party that the amount of adrenaline and like that sense of pride you get when you're on stage as a DJ and you can see everyone having fun, that is quadrupled when you're running events. That feeling of I brought everyone here, and now they're connecting and now they're having fun and it's all because of me. It is irreplaceable, that feeling. I've got kids, that feeling still hits, and I've been doing it for years. Like it's one of those things where you can dive into it and people love it, man.
Yeah. I have had a bit of that with Adult Art Club. We did 2 shows at the old Hidden Forest venue as well. It was called Colors at the time. And we sold out 2 shows back to back, and we couldn't do like a it was weird. It was like mid-COVID, like in one of the relief periods of lockdown, and we couldn't do like the full capacity. We had to split it into 2 events on the same night. So we had one at like 10 p.m. to like 1 a.m. and then the other one was like 2 to 5, and they were both sold out. And it was actually really sick because we got to play 2 different sets. But yeah, cool. I got to share in that feeling of like being able to say that you kind of did your own show and put on your own thing and made it special for the people who'd invested in coming. It was
that was the point that I like wanted to hammer on, was like, if I'm going to put events on, and especially in the last like 2 years with everything coming back, it's like, if I'm going to put events on, I'm getting a team together of like-minded people who enjoy what we once had, know what it'll take to bring it back. And I think we hit the nail on the head. Since day one, this shit has just fucking skyrocketed, and we're getting like, you know, messages, all 3 of us, all day, every day, being like, this is a sick idea, you should do this. Awesome. What about this? And that's when it's like, all right, now we can do this properly. I think the scene needs that like safe haven.
Yeah, I'm stoked to hear it for you guys, for sure.
No, thank you, bro. Well, the original thought was, because Pilots Lounge and Lucy Goose doing their thing for the last couple of years. When I started going out, it was Wah, Forest, and Cloud. They were like your pinnacles. You weren't going to top it. Obviously, Tramp had its crowd and had its crew, but it was a smaller venue, so it was only like 300, 400 people that would get in. It
was a core following.
And it was also like, you can't wear that, you're not coming in type vibe. Where Forest, Cloud, Wah, they didn't care. And those 3 dogs, it was
fucking free for all.
Now it's come back and it's only Pilots and Goose. We were like, there needs to be a third. If we can have that like third perfect area for people to spread out, have fun. They've got their crew, we've got ours, but we're all in it for the same thing. I feel like the Cloud Forest War days, they were all competing because the crowds were all the same people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Whereas if we can show that we're working with Pilot's Lounge and working with Goose, we're trying to rebuild the scene, but just that little bit different where we can see longevity in it now. And we know if we mistreat it if we take advantage of it like we did, it's gone again.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be a very fine balancing act.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I think that's why we've come to the spot that we're at now, where we've got, we've got the ability to give old heads that drive again, bringing back people like Twisted Circuit, Amir, yourself, people who haven't touched it in years, but are seeing these people are doing it for not the clicks or the views, we're doing it for the love of the game, you know what I mean? And I think that's going to be a massive difference, because the scene hasn't had that. It's been one of our biggest downfalls.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge driver of culture as well. It's like you can't fake authenticity.
Absolutely.
You really can't. And if you are even spotted with an ounce of inauthenticity or not being authentic, you get shunned. You're just immediately ostracized. So if that's part of the core motif of what you're doing, you really can't fail. Even if you try and you don't succeed, you haven't necessarily failed.
Yep.
You had to do what you have to do.
Yeah, that was my first event. We only sold 38 tickets or something to my first event. It was a tiny little thing, but those 38 people that came, they fucking loved it. So I win.
Yep.
That's all that mattered to me, really.
Yeah. Great shout.
Yeah.
Great shout.
Fuck, boys. Kieran, Ozzy, you got any other questions? We've hit our hour.
We have, but there was one thing that I actually wanted to, there was somebody in the chat. Can you please elaborate on the GTA release and what did you do with Breaking Bad?
So these were two psytrance tracks that I did in 2013, and they were actually really pivotal in me exploring different influences. So at the time, the two big artists that I was getting influenced by was I heard Will play Expect What by Neelix, and I was like, what the fuck is this genre? Yeah, absolute tune. And he would play Become One by Coming Soon. So they were the two big psytrance tracks at the time where I was like, wow, this is something I've never heard before. And it wasn't really psy. It wasn't psychedelic at all. It was just fucking
Melbourne.
It was fast Melbourne. So I was like, oh, Coming Soon are using a lot of movie references and stuff. And I was like, oh, let's see if I can do something similar. So I was like, oh, Breaking Bad seems to be popular. Never seen it in my life. So I just chucked a couple of things together and made it into a track. Same with GTA. I was playing a lot of GTA because it just come out, and I was like, oh, let's just put a bunch of this into the track, and that was kind of where I kind of started fucking around with putting. It was using a bunch of different sounds, but making a melodic sequence out of those sounds, kind of in the way that Psy was doing it at the time. Day Din was probably the best at that back then. It's you get this random bunch of sounds, and then you kind of make this melodic microstructure within any song, and it comes out to this really nice resolution. And it was just so nice to be able to write like that. It was very liberating writing those songs.
That was my first exposure to psytrance, because I never listened to any of this music till I was 18, and then Forest Armageddon was 3 months later or something, and that was the year they had Coming Soon, and I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, actually crazy.
Yeah, he's nuts on stage.
Yep, Israelis, man, they just make the best Psy.
Yeah,
it's down. There's no one better.
Yeah, no, fully agree.
They all crush it.
Yeah,
great question,
dude. Thank you so much for the pod. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna see more of you. For anyone in the chat, Zac's playing at the Crew. Have you got any teasers for that? You got something planned?
Yeah, I've got some new music to play, and it's not going to be too far removed from my old stuff. Rest in peace, boys.
Oh no.
Rest in peace.
GG, he's gone.
What a legend.
All right.
Here he is.
So, that just happened. Okay, I think it's actually going to work now.
That's a legend.
But there's there's definitely some Melbourne stuff coming.
I'm so keen.
No, we're keen.
I'm so keen.
That's fucking insane. That's fucking insane, dude. Holy shit.
I'm keen as. I'll have to ask you guys for some final feedback on those two as well. So I'll send it to you so you can let me know what your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
definitely.
Of course. We got you.
Sweet.
It's been a great chat, bro. Thank you so much for stopping by.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your
Awesome,
time, man.
awesome to talk about this. I love what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to catch up again when we do the crew.
Yeah, the crew is going to be good. Are you going to WA?
When is that?
8th of March.
That might be a maybe.
8th of March. Is that the Monday night or the Sunday?
Sunday.
I think I'm not in Melbourne, but I'll have actually no, because that's the opening round of the footy. So I actually will be in Melbourne.
It is. It is the opening round of the footy.
And it'll be on the beers from the footy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be on the beers from the footy. Yeah, Saints Collingwood. I'll be there that night. I'll have to stick around. No, I live in Frankston these days, so it's a bit of a stretch to get back up into the city. Yeah. But yeah, love it down here.
I'm
in the valley.
Nice. I'm like 2 hours.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's fucking ages out.
Yeah,
yeah. No shit.
Nah.
No, we all got our lives now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys do?
I'm stay at home dad now.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Love that. You got how many kids you got?
Me, four now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
It's good fun.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, mad.
3 boys, 1 girl.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Kieran?
I mainly just do markets and make music. That's pretty much what I do.
Oh, sick. Fuck yeah. It's actually mad.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hell yeah. What about you, Ozzy?
I'm in civil construction, man. So I'm like a leading hand foreman. Then I just come home and be a dad. I've got 3 kids, so
fuck yeah.
I'm the only one with no kids. I'm just gonna walk myself out.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't have kids either.
Oh,
yeah,
thank God. Oh, yeah, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no dramas. No, awesome. It's just great that we're still making time even despite our busy home lives. So I'm just grateful for that as well.
That's what we want to get at, is that like this scene is sort of for everyone, whether you're busy 24/7, if you got 5 kids, if you don't have any, it's like an inclusive spot for everyone.
Hey, put it this way, my kids love it too. Like every time I'm playing Melbourne music, they're dancing in the studio, man.
Nice. Nice. Love that.
Part to it, man. Absolutely.
Love that.
When I jump up and down, my kids bounce too, I guess.
Chat.
I'll have to make it.
All right. See you the fuck later. See you later.
Much love, dude. Chat. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for your time.
Much love, bro.
Take care, guys.
Thank you so
See you
much.
later.
Peace.
See you
soon.
Bye.
What a dude. Guys, what a fucking stream.
Now I can drink more beers.
Yeah.
Fucking let's send it, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. This is I think with what we're building, that just proved that this is going to be sick. Hit the Discord if you want to join. It's going to be good. Much love to y'all. We'll see you next week. Same time. Peace.